said talk to me, damn it, or else I'm gonna throw you in the fire!
You stupid bitch! You filthy... Flyover state of fear. Welcome back. What is this? It's the summer.
Summertime,
We're on
baby.
summer break here at Flyover State of Fear.
Cowabunga, etc.
How are you, Brian?
Oh man, I am doing great, man. The sun is shining. I'm basking in it, bursting into flames after 30 seconds. It's great.
Become way too hot. I'm just sweating.
Brutally hot out. Ooh, we love it. I keep waiting for climate change to turn my Ohio home into beachfront property, baby.
We've also, for the listeners or watchers, they should say, Brian and I are both in like Hawaiian gear, kind of. This was not planned, but the irony is, Brian was going for an 80s vibe.
I was going for my turtles on. I found my most 80s t-shirt with Bebop and Rocksteady on it.
I was going for a summer vibe.
I think it's great. When I flipped out, when the camera came on and we were both wearing, I got a warm feeling. I was like, that's it. We're lined up. We're geared up.
It.
Yeah.
I got a freshly
squeezed. Feels good.
I made a freshly squeezed lemonade today, so I got that going.
Nice.
Real fancy boy. Anyway.
Hell yeah.
How you been? How you been keeping it spooky since the last time we talked?
I always am keeping it spooky. I always
girl.
I was actually thinking, not to like derail, we're going to talk about a couple little horror things or thrillers, that I've been watching. We always like to, but just scanning through my my now watchings, I just felt pity for people that are like having to keep up with every new show every week, every day. It's like you're missing out on so much, man. I'm getting like these tight little beautiful stories, and I'm like, it's so eclectic, and I'm jumping around in genres, and you're all hung up on making sure you stay current on Star Wars and Game of Thrones and whatever garbage, and none of it's even any good. And yet here I am just basking in the glory of 90-minute movies every night.
We just watched I agree with you in this, because I was just away with some friends, visiting some friends in Orlando, and the naturally you're like, what are you watching? And I'm always talking movies, and she goes, I watch I don't watch many movies, I watch TV shows. And I'm like, yeah, but the movie, like, she's like, I don't have.
And then I was going to be like, okay, so what are you watching?
Well, she goes, as one of her good friends, she goes, well, I can't commit 3 hours. And go, whoa, what movies are you watching? Or 3 hours? There's very few. Like, there's like a couple a year, and like the heavy dramas, they'll say.
Yeah, most movies are an hour, 40 minutes. Like that's that's like the normal.
I go. Listen, I go, yeah, about that. I go, one at 1:45, 2 hours. I go, and then my story's done. That's why I like a movie. The TV series, like, yeah, I'm watching like a lot of other people. I'm in the season of The Boys, but it's easy to keep up with. It's weekly. I just got back into Only Murders in the Building. I know this is not horror, but yeah, I'm back. It's always the thing movies.
Is, but like you can do both. Like that's the thing. People will watch 4 hours of TV or 3 hours of TV in a night, and I'll watch a 90-minute movie and then like 2 episodes of Righteous Gemstones. You know what I mean? I'm still living my life, but
I'm putting movies in. I've been having
I guess I'm talking about like feeling the obligation to like stay current on everything and have an opinion on everything.
I think
binds people, like traps them.
Everyone, I should say everyone. The internet, mostly. I don't know about like people my day to day. It's like that Star Wars show. It's like, oh, you're complaining about it? Why are you watching it?
Just don't watch it.
There's also 9 Star Wars shows. It's too much to keep track of.
Yeah, I was just having this conversation with Harrison. I was
Marvel.
like, he started watching the Clone Wars, the cartoon from the 2000s, and I was like, this is one journey I can't take with you, man. I can't do it. I
tried
didn't
it.
want to watch this when it was new, and I sure as hell don't want to watch it now with what it's become and what it has birthed and what it is like.
That's a weird one. I tried it like a while ago.
And he likes it, and I'm not begrudging him it. I'm like good for him, but it's just like I knew I was like, nah, not for me. If they ever get back to making a movie I think I want to see, maybe I'll go back to Star Wars. Or if Andor season 2, when Andor season 2.
I believe it is getting a season 2, but
yeah, I think they're working on that. And that was a very good Star Wars show.
But like Harrison the Clone Wars thing, I remember I was like, oh, this sounds good, and it was like, it's actually something you gotta like Google because they added it all out of order, and you gotta like actually watch like episodes 10 to 14, and then because there's just a lot of filler because it's a cartoon. It's also just a cartoon. Yeah. It's like I watched.
And there's it's like different time periods and stuff. I know that there's like a hatcheted up way to watch it. He's just watching it normal, I think.
Yeah, back in the Force Awakens. Welcome to Star Wars, where everyone has.
I didn't even start talking about my now watchings. I got to derail right
away. Back where everyone, when Force Awakens came out, and it was like fun to get into Star Wars again, or like it was like a fresh breath of air into Star Wars again. I remember I watched the first season of what was that Disney XD show with Freddie Prinze Jr. as a cartoon?
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about.
I kind of remember, but I don't. I don't remember the name.
It was very good. I watched the one season of it. I'm blanking on it. Someone's probably yelling, be like, "What's this? How did you watch it?" I don't know, because it was like 7 years ago.
Is it Rebels?
Rebels. Yeah. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was easy. I never continued because I was like, oh.
Life gets in the way.
But anyway, yeah, there's too much, but like you were saying, you could balance it. It's like you don't have to watch horror all the time.
And it's just like I the same thing about like the big like blockbusters that people are talking about. If they don't interest you, you don't have to watch them. You don't have to feel obligated to watch them. You know what I mean? Like just to keep up with the discourse or whatever. It's like, no, just your time has value. You use it to watch what you want to watch, not what you feel like you need to watch to keep up with the culture,
No.
I don't know. I was just very happy because I was looking at my now watchings, and the horror movies that I wanted to talk about were, well, first of all, R.I.P. Donald Sutherland, and I finally watched the 1978 Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
We did that with Lon Harris.
With Lon, right? That was one of your first.
I think it was my first Lon episode.
I missed out, so I did not watch it. I had not watched it yet.
I remember being very like in a good way, taken aback by it and like so enamored with it. And I remember, but also at the same time, Lon recommended Don't Look Up or Don't Look Now.
Yeah.
I had never seen it. I still haven't. I bought the Criterion because it was like a Christmas buy. And I remember it was like, Lon, you got to come back to do that. So maybe we'll get him for the fourth time.
I've seen that once and I was kind of, on it. So I would be willing to do it.
It's a heavy drama. That's more what I know.
Right.
So, but go on. So you watched.
The other one I wanted to mention it's a movie called Blue Sunshine. It's from 1977. I don't know if I had never really heard of it, but it's just one of those ones you're flipping through on the streaming services. They got all kinds of, they're all trying to like comb through, and I like, I like older horror stuff, and well, sometimes, I'll see something, or we love to go, like, if you got a movie like an older one you like The Wicker Man, and then you go to the recommended based on stuff like that.
Gotcha.
But this is it was a kind of a thriller murder movie where basically normal people are going crazy and they think and killing people, and they think it might be traced back to this special kind of acid that
it's like a mom and dad or like a happening kind of movie.
Yeah, a little bit like that, I guess. Yeah, like you got people who are seemingly normal, who are like something is setting them off, and then all of a sudden they're like going nuts and
but it's based off like an acid they took.
Right, and then the idea is that people do, like, the investigation is these people think what might be the cause is this acid that they took. So they're trying to like trace that back and find out if that's what it is, and is there a way to stop it.
A real Jacob's Ladder situation.
Who took it, and where did it come from, et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of like a mystery thriller, but there's like some good weird kind of horror elements to it also.
That's dope. We gotta add that to my list and watch that because I love these like these 70s forgotten.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like there's movies that just like now in the streaming area where things come out, and even stuff that's like a big deal at the time can disappear and just be forgotten about.
I feel like
there's so much stuff from like the 70s that's decent, but yet doesn't but just never developed a following enough to like keep it in the consciousness.
I feel like we just talked about like I guess Summer of '84 might be falling that camp.
Kind
But
of.
like Tragedy Girls, right? We just spoke about that not too long ago,
Sure.
or Wolf. Like I would say those are two movies that like very
Wolf was
different.
definitely a huge deal at the time.
Wolf
Huge stars, like a big kind of revamp of a classic property, and like it's kind of totally forgotten.
Stars. No one. I was literally on TikTok, actually, the Paige who was on this show, one of the the Fredheads director. She was doing a TikTok talking about werewolves and recommendations, and I was like, "Yo, we just covered Wolf, blah blah blah. You should watch it." Response back, "Oh, I've never seen that either." And like, she's within, from my understanding, like between our ages in this. And I'm like, it's crazy that should be a Jack Nicholson. We talked about a whole episode about it. Jack Nicholson, Michelle Pfeiffer. How the fuck is that not?
It's not even. It's weird because it's not even as well remembered as something like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which a lot of people consider bad.
Yeah.
But it doesn't even have that kind of fall. Like it just is kind of totally forgotten.
And like Wolf, something like Wolf. I don't know if we talked about it, like that should be one of those ones where, while I'm looking it up, probably just prove wrong. Like it should have that, like, Shout Factory Blu-ray, or like even that. Like it doesn't even have like an Arrow release.
Yeah, which is wild.
So anyway, so that's a great point. I remember last two Halloweens ago, like I fell a little bit into that 70s obscure heart, like they scared Jessica to death, or that one.
Yeah,
Like
that's a good one, sure.
Yeah, no, I did knock off upsetting, brutal movies. So as you know, as our listeners know, I like to wake up early on weekends, and that's when I get my best work done. When we went on vacation to our friend's house in Orlando, I woke up
with
at
other
6,
people, with normies.
with other people, with normies. I wake up at 6 in the morning ish, and I'm flipping through, and it was on Tubi.
Call those the Flyboy hours.
And I put on. I was like, this sounds interesting. Eden Lake. Didn't realize how known as one of the more brutal films, and sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got through a good amount of it before, just thankfully, like the other husband woke up and was like, all right, I'm on board, like that's cool. And so, like, his wife and Laura, they'd be like, what the fuck is this? So I was like, that was a little weird. Just like this movie, I'd put it in one of those like top 10 maybe even 5, like, upsetting endings you could possibly.
Oh yeah.
And then same trip. Same trip the next morning. Like we went out for Laura's birthday, and I woke up hungover. And I was like, I kind of just need a comfort. And I was like, I just need a comfort movie. So I threw on Nightmare on Elm Street, not realizing that's weird for other people. And later in the day, I mentioned it at dinner, and our friend goes, yeah, I wasn't gonna say anything, but it's super weird to like see through the crack of my door, like, some really creepy shit in the morning, and like the screams. And I'm like, oh yeah, I slept through the whole thing, because it's just like, oh,
that was like some comfort stuff for me. I was just like,
yeah, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm sorry, that is weird. And your door, like the way their TV was, it was like TV door cracked because they had
crack
cats
pointed at it, and you got
I'm like,
murders happening and screaming.
Like, yeah, kind of forget. So anyway, that for my end, that's really it. Except for today, Summer '84.
Yeah, Summer '84. You owned it. Hey, I have to give a shout out to Canopy once again, saving the day, coming in, having the Summer of '84. I thought I was gonna have to rent it. It did only cost $2 to rent, so I wouldn't have been mad at it or anything. But I was happy Canopy saved the day.
It was Summer of '84. I put the Blu-ray back on the shelf. I'm glad you didn't have to pay for it. It was like a Shudder release forever.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah, I could have sworn I watched it on Shudder. I couldn't believe it wasn't on there anymore.
It was it was, yeah, its release. It was like Shudder had the exclusive rights in 2018. And it was that same year Mandy came out. So they were like, it was like Mandy was this big hit, and then it was like this other movie's doing pretty well,
Yeah, sure.
neck and neck. But yeah, so Summer '84. Um, I want to pick it. I think it's a. Before we even begin, I've like since 2018 really. Let's say 19. It has a nice, good summer horror vibe to it, but offers more as a movie. I think there's more to the story than just like on surface. It's like here's a Stranger Things ripoff because it has this like this synth. This
That's definitely a note where you're like, you forget how hard everybody was trying to be Stranger Things. Like, when did this come out? Probably the next year. And it's not that
yeah.
they were
So
necessarily like, not that the movie was written to be like Stranger Things, but you know they got notes of like, can you make this a little more Stranger Things?
so there's a thing on the wiki, and it was immediately go into it. So the movie releases 2018, but Stranger Things is I think 2015 or 2016.
Yeah.
Um,
Like based on that, this movie might have got greenlit, even if they
yes,
did. Yeah,
that's
like,
what it was. So it's like including the script and everything was like 2015, prior to Stranger Things, and blah blah blah. You know, they were given a budget, and then basically it seems like, from what I could read, the tea leaves is like it was in production, Stranger Things did, and then someone said, "Yeah, we'll help you finance it." It's
right
only
now
like
that Stranger Things is a huge hit, we will help put some money behind this and get it going.
yeah,
To hopefully cash in on that.
Yeah, they film in 2017, released in 20 or tore it in 2018, goes to Shudder, and it's a it's well received.
Yeah,
And
moderate streaming hit
yeah, and
for
but
a
yeah,
Shudder exclusive. Yeah,
but I
anyway.
think we'd be remiss not to call out the Stranger Things. And it's the score really more than anything, aroma.
Sure.
But it's also not Supernatural, which
Yeah,
helps.
That helps.
But real quick, this might be a good one to give a little synopsis on, which we haven't done in a while. We haven't. But teenager Davy Armstrong is a conspiracy theorist who begins to suspect that a neighboring police officer is a serial killer. With help from three friends, Davy launches a daring investigation that soon turns dangerous. All right, that's perfect. It I love the.
And they didn't give away too much.
No, I love also the casting of this. Like if you were watching Mad Men at all, like the Rich Summer casting as the cop, the serial
I
killer.
have him as a Pam potential boyfriend. He's the
Yes.
guy who tries to hook up with Pam, which is in New York.
Yeah, because he's also kind of a comedy guy sometimes.
Yeah,
But he had a big role
seen,
in Mad Men.
I want to say I saw him on some of those like Drunk History or something like that.
Yeah, he had a big role in Mad Men, but then he was one of these guys who would pop up like, I think had like a board game podcast on like Earwolf, like the other notable actor, which I'm not going to use the name of because I don't remember, is the kid's dad is in Monk.
Oh, yeah, that dude looked a little familiar to me, but he might be in Candyman 2. He might be in Farewell to the Flesh.
Jason, I'll go to his wiki. Jason, but yeah, I was like, who looks familiar? Oh yeah, he's like Monk's. He's like the dopey, like not the serious
guy,
detective. Yeah. The other kid, the one kid that popped from this, at least briefly, is like the cool friend of the four. He's in he's the kid from the Babysitter movies.
Oh, is he? I was going to say the kid who plays Woody. I don't remember what else exactly I've seen him in, but I know I've seen him in things.
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
We don't have to IMDb everybody.
No, I'm looking up this.
Everybody look up Woody and tell us what he was in.
Tell us Woody. I mean, I got it all. I don't see Candyman on here for that dude. But
no, it could be. He just has like a weird shaped head that reminded me of that guy.
Oh, he's in the Jersey Devil episode of the X-Files, which is a terrible episode.
No, that's a great episode. That's the episode. That's the episode where Scully is like out on a date and it doesn't go well, and then she's thinking about her life, and then it's like and like should she like devote more to the X-Files instead of like trying to pursue her personal life, and then it cuts to a picture of cuts to Mulder looking at a picture of Bigfoot with titties.
It's like the sixth episode. It's like the sixth episode, like or something in the series, and it does not have the same juice.
That first season, That's the thing about the X-Files. I think the first season of the X-Files comes in pretty fucking hot, actually.
You know where we know Woody from?
Hmm?
He's one of the kids, not main kids, in Goosebumps. That's where we know that actor
Oh,
from.
is he like the one of the bullies?
I think he's the bully.
Is he a bully in Goosebumps? Okay.
Other than that, his IMDb is a little like, I'm like vice principals, but nothing really popping out. So
No,
anyway,
I actually just restarted Vice Principal, so that's probably what I didn't. I don't think I've seen him in it yet, though. That's weird.
probably just a kid.
Yeah.
Anyway, and this like most, I feel like these little horror movies like this are like a Canadian production.
Sure, I could see that being a Canadian.
But this is supposed to take in Oregon in the summer
which is
of
practically
84.
Canada anyway.
Ipswich. And
these guys are like 2 towns over from the Goonies.
Yeah, I love how this movie though does start out being like the movie to me. Why it worked so well for me is like it never starts off with the kid's voiceover and riding the bike, but we immediately get into this like unnerving helping out his neighbor. The movie is never telling us it's not this guy. Like I don't think the movie.
When you start your movie, first of all, I think I mentioned to you off camera. I don't think I said yet. I had seen this movie before, but it was one of those that I remember positively. Like I liked it, but I didn't really remember much about it.
Yeah.
But when they go and do what is literally a knockoff of the Silence of the Lambs scene, the furniture moving, you know what I mean? Like that's classic furniture. So I do like how calculated he is in the way he moves the kid and he keeps himself between the kid and the door. That's all really good, actually. Like the blocking, I guess you want to call it.
But he's not trying to, like we learn, at least for Davy, he's not trying to murder Davy because he's not trying to murder.
You don't murder your neighbor. You don't shit where you eat. But I did remember that what I was going to say is the thing that tipped me that I was like, even if I had like, I totally kind of forgotten, but a minute he's like, oh yeah, those pictures. I was like, oh, that's pictures of his victims. Like that part immediately came back to me, and from having seen it the one time, even though I couldn't remember going into it, but I still think that's a great payoff in the end. I don't mean to take away from it, but it's just funny that like I was like, I don't remember anything about this, and then immediately that scene he's helping him move, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the pictures. I get it.
Yeah, the movie has no I mean. It's not void of it's not void of criticism.
No, but like you were saying, and I have that written here, they don't try to set up a mystery. There's this isn't Scream. There's no red herrings. There's no alternate suspects. Really, it's always focused on this guy.
To me, it's kind of nice. Like we're all, we always gotta, it's always like maybe, and there's this red herring, and it might be this. It's like the way the camera, it's immediately this guy. And it's just more of going to be a movie about this kid trying to convince everyone else. And even the kid, I mean, to a comedic effect, they make him a conspiracy theorist where, like, in
a way that a kid his age in that era wouldn't. Yeah. He's like a conspiracy theorist in a way that you can only be because the internet exists, but it's in the 80s. Like,
wall to wall. I love the wall to wall, like the National Enquirer, essentially clippings of like Bigfoot exists and they do it temporarily. You meet these four kids, and they all have their own archetype, like the nerd, the quiet one, Davy.
Yeah, the archetypes are pretty obvious. I do like this friend group a lot. Of course, your mind is always like, when you're talking about the Stranger Things of it all, you're like, oof, that's a pretty white crew. No, but I gotta admit that makes it feel more realistic for a neighborhood like that in the 1980s.
In Oregon,
there very likely might not have been a black kid to be in your friend group at all. Not available.
In Oregon too, I'd imagine.
In my neighborhood.
Yeah,
is what I'm saying.
I do. Speaking of
not
your neighborhood,
just wasn't an option.
So it is a good note, though. It is a very milk-colored movie.
Oh, sure.
But I will.
In fact, I don't know if there's any black people in the whole town.
The cop that pulls them over.
The friendly cop. There's a friendly cop. You're right.
Yeah, and the movie has some fun. I've categorized since I've seen this movie. I know there's movies with harder, more upsetting endings, and we'll wait to get to the ending. This is calculated to me of one where like, this isn't gonna end where the movie starts off with the score and these nice that's what's always stood out for me of why I've taken this one. I've been like. I've held it off on the show for a little bit, and just like I think it's a fun in a weird way, it has the dour shit to it, but it's a fun mystery. It's,
It does definitely, especially at the start, kind of have that, like, it feels, ironically like a
Spielbergian.
movie that came out again in the wake of Stranger Things and the 2017 It, where it's like, even though the stakes are serious, there's still an element of like adventure to it. You know what I mean?
Well, it's the Spielberg of it, right? Like
Sure.
the
But
kids.
this one like does a good job of like devolving and kind of like
it fakes you
progressing.
out. It
Yeah.
fakes you out.
Well, they definitely have the full. We won't get there yet.
Yeah,
But they
I'll
do a
wait.
full
That's
fake out ending too.
but but yeah, there's an adventure to like and the
But in general, it escalates. Like it
the
starts off kind
kids.
of not innocent because it's always about a
It's
serial killer, but it starts off kind of like
it's Rear Window.
unreal. Like I think that's a realistic thing that goes on with the kids
I
too.
was gonna say that.
They like develop. There gets to a point where it's like it's not fun anymore. They don't want
Yeah.
to, like, it's too far. They don't like it.
The kids, like, I would say basically it's split in half. 4 of them, 2. I think Davy and Woody are like, I'm super invested. This is real. The other 2 kids, which blanking on the names, are like, which it's
Forrester or Finster. Or
it's Curtis and Eats. Tommy, Curtis and Tommy, I believe.
Okay, well, whatever. I guess I'm wrong.
I'm just going off of the top of the wiki
I
here.
believe
But
you.
anyway, the other 2, the cool one, and the nerdy
Cool
one.
and the nerd.
They are the
You
2
got a
that
cool
clear.
one, you got nerd, you got fat one, and then you got main kid who's always the most boring, which stands to this one too.
I'm so shy, and
oh gosh, and the girl next door, we grew up as kids, and now I got a crush on her, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, that's the weakest
I was more
part of the
interested in
movie.
the kid who kept making jokes about banging the other kid's alcoholic mom.
Yeah, I felt bad for that kid and his alcoholic mom too. When he's like,
yeah, everybody. That's another thing. This movie's got that, like, no, he's got a good home life, really.
Yeah, the one towards like half the movie, like the one when he's like, no, Rich Sommer, that's the neighbor. He's like, oh, he's innocent, and he's like, can I sleep over?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that kid has a shitty home life too.
Yeah. Yeah, like you see Woody's got one, the kind of tough kid. Yeah, like he's got a shitty home life. The girl, her parents are splitting up and she's moving away and stuff.
So I want to talk about the girl in that too. Like, it's the least interesting part because he's like, yeah, they're joking around. They're like, your neighbor's hot. She clearly babysitted him. There's like a 3 or 4 year age difference, I'd say.
Yeah, not like a huge difference, but
they write her weird, and again, there's not much time in the sense of the movie. They write her weird because she rolls in as this like manic picture. It was like, oh, this is a manic picture dream girl. She rolls into his house and she's like, cracks a soda, and she's like, it's cool, we could hang out, blah blah blah. And you're like, this doesn't happen.
In a way that never exists.
This doesn't happen. The girl graduating high school is not going to a French league with the 8th grader or freshman.
Yeah.
Come and be like, hey, yeah, because he's like, well, we could hang out now. We're not kids anymore, and but then they stick the landing a little bit with the next one. She's like, yeah, so my parents are getting a divorce. My friends are so conceited. You might understand this, and that's really.
Yeah, she's looking for somebody that she knows will just like be compassionate.
Yeah, and that's nice. And
she's vulnerable, and so it stands. It makes it more realistic.
She serves the role also to kind of be like, all right, I'm on board. This is a little interesting, with the kids going on. But so anyway, they notice some behavior. Some kids have gone missing. And Davy, when they're playing Manhunt, Davy sees a kid in I'm just gonna fucking remember which number.
His name's Mackie.
Mackie in Mackie's window, and he goes, and then they disappear. And this is right off the heels of the intro of the movie, of him saying, I have no family around, I have none of this, and he's like, this is fucking weird. So he kind of starts keeping tabs on.
Why do you have a kid in your house then?
Yeah. And there's the Cape May slasher.
Yeah, I think that's what it's Cape Bay. Is that what it is? Cape Bay.
I thought it was Cape May, but
Kate
I think
May?
you're
I don't
right.
know. I don't
Anyway,
remember.
Kate May.
We're
It's Kate
terrible
May.
at this. We said we
We're
were good at
terrible.
podcasting. Why are we so bad at it? Good
I
at
do have
dressing alike.
Kate May Slayer. Kate May
Okay.
Slayer. It is a Kate May Slayer. So that's on, and like a lot of fucking kids have gone missed. Like there should not be any.
Well,
13.
it's gotten to the point where the serial killer is now taunting the police.
Yeah, 13 kids have gone
It's
missing.
like he sends a message. There's like a news report, and he like sends a message, and it's like so that's he's very successful. And I should say that like Mackie is fully like doing some suspect behaviors here. Sitting a single man who lives alone, sitting out in his front yard watching
I've that
children
note.
play and offering them free ice pops is weird.
I have that note too.
A
Drinking a
night
beer
run
too.
to your storage unit is weird. Like,
Buying 100 pound, like buying 100 pounds of dirt at your grocery store
like every
weekly
week.
with like lye and things like that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's also on the, I said grocery. That's also on the hardware store to be like, this is fucking odd. I know he's a cop, but
Yeah.
that's really what happens in the movie, right? The movie just has a very like everyone in it, from even the kids to the parents to the other. Well, he's a cop. It's fine.
Well, yeah, it's the 80s. He's a cop, so obviously he has to be a good guy, which is so funny as a statement to think about now. Like, you think about the state of, like, where public opinion about cops is over the last couple of years. Even in, honestly, even in 2018, I guess we're a couple of years, George Floyd's, like, 2020 pandemic era. So, like, that's when it really took a hard turn.
It took
But
a
still,
hard
like,
turn, but
yeah.
even, I mean, it's a good play on it. Like, it's a good way to get this, like, okay, but he's suspicious. And then
And
we
so
give him
the kids are kind of surveilling him, and there's, like, various...
kids are surveilling
I
him.
like that they're realistically bad at surveillance.
They're
Like,
so bad at surveilling.
they keep losing him when they're tailing him. They're always like just like getting separated and like losing communication with each other and not having like a good plan in the first place.
I even like how this movie has like the unrealistic. Is the movie magic of walkie-talkies?
Yeah, sure.
And
they
they
work
all live
when
in
you
the
need them to,
course.
and they don't work when you need them to.
And they have the range. They have amazing range. And even like how Mackie, you know, because he's always around because he's working in his yard. Is like, yeah, I'm a cop. I can give you some good walkies. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like acknowledging like you're using the GI Joe branded walkie-talkies. But they all live in the neighborhood. Do this. Yeah, the kids. It's really funny how bad they are at tailing them.
And like
they steal the car. They steal a car.
Yeah, it's like it's Woody's car. They're driving around no license in like his mom's car or something, or so, is that it?
Yeah, it's and like they get
the friendly cop. Luckily, the friendly cop. That's a great moment though, where they think it's Mackie behind them, and it ends up being the other guy. That's a fun. Again, this movie does well with the suspense moments as well. The filmmaking is strong. They
build really good tension because that is a scene where you're like, you know, they lost Mackie so quickly that you're like, he could have just they were so bad at tailing him that of course he noticed them following him.
So I want to so I'm watching, you know, and they're doing their surveillance, and there's a couple things, and I actually thought I was a little I think I was like over like writing the movie in my head, because I was like, there's a couple times they're watching him and he like stumbles and he gets red paint on him, or they see him shoveling in his garden and like suspiciously at night or whatever. I actually thought there was going to be a plot point where he was like setting them up there. He was trapping them to get them to accuse him and then do the false accusation thing, which ends up happening anyway, but with pretty good evidence. Like, I thought they were gonna he was gonna get them overexcited with fake shit, and they were gonna jump the gun, and that's how it was gonna play out. But actually, it's much worse than that. They get together some pretty solid evidence.
They break into a shed.
Yeah.
The first time they break into they follow it all. They do this, and he's kind of on. You know, he has like an inkling because they're like poking around me. You know, like the kids are poking around Mackie, but he doesn't.
And by that time he came to like.
But
no, that's after the accusation.
This is before.
Yeah, that's before he comes to the house.
He's not.
But he did like see him when he's creeping around a manhunt, and he sees him with the binoculars through the window.
That's
so
what I'm
like
saying. He has
Mackie, you definitely. And also, I was gonna say, if you're a cop and a serial killer who's doing such a good job that you're at the taunting the cops level, then you probably notice when somebody who's bad at tailing is tailing you. And so, like, there's likely that he was onto them from that too.
Yes. So I think he wasn't like, when I say this, I think the movie wants us to think he's not fully aware what's going on, but he's aware these kids have been like snooping a little closer to his
Yeah,
house than not.
something's going on with these kids that they're
So,
it's not completely straightforward here.
so what they find though, the one big night, they're like, we're gonna get it done, and the walkies, they follow, two kids follow him to a storage unit, and they're able to find like, yeah, there's 100 pounds of dirt in here, and
He's got like a
uh,
secret car. He hid a secret.
there's a
He's
secret
got, like,
car.
a secret
The
car
most
sort.
the most suspicious car. I don't know the 80s were, but it doesn't seem like I feel like a candy green bug was never
It's
like.
too memorable for your serial killer
Yes.
vehicle. You need
It needs to
something
be like
less
a wood
memorable.
panel Volvo, you
Yeah.
know.
Just go with a white panel van. Why are you being showy?
But I don't know. Just my notes. And then, but they're
They
like, yeah,
gather that up. They gather up the
but there's
shirt.
like
They
there's
got find a bloody
something here.
shirt. They got the fake. They got all the
The
dirt.
the
The
kids
fake car.
run.
Like some fairly solid evidence.
Yeah, the kids run back while the other two are breaking into his shed, and in the shed they find this like MTV shirt that has blood on it. And
That
he's
he
like,
saw. It's the shirt the kid
he
was
saw
wearing that he
he
saw
saw
through
the
the
kid.
window.
It was very
Yeah.
distinct. It's like your turtle shirt. Like it's the MTV logo. And although the one scene I get, you just have to have fun in the movie. I hate them trying to sneak around, and the kids are like, "Well, this is just a fun event." The kids truly are still like, "This is." Two of the kids are like, "This is a fun adventure." Hey, fuck you! What do they yell? They yell like, "Hey, what are you doing to the kids?" To freak them out, and it's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, not the time, not the." I'd be so mad at my friends if that we were like,
We're investigating a fucking murder, you guys.
But anyway, they find that and they have evidence. And what I like about the movie is they go to the parents. In every movie, you're like, why aren't you telling your parents? Why aren't you telling your? Why aren't you? They go to the parents, and the parents, I guess, react in the most reasonable parent way. But at the same time,
I don't know. I was talking to Sarah about this. It's like, what do you do in this situation? Okay, your kid comes to you with what I consider to be pretty compelling evidence. Even if you decide to believe him, okay, let's say you believe him, he's still a cop, and your neighbor. Like, what is your course of action here?
I think there's like a middle ground to what happened, right?
Mm.
Like you like talk to your kid and the team. You're like, all right, we'll think about this. Figure like, it might be your imaginations. I don't think you immediately pivot to this is fucking ridiculous. We're taking you to his house.
The way his dad handles it is the worst possible way.
But I think what his dad was doing or how he was written, I think that is how like parents, because I think what it is, it's not like we accusing you of a serial killer. I think it's we trashed your garden.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
and that's
absolutely.
Why. Like if they didn't trash the garden,
we did a vandalism.
I think if they didn't do a vandalism, I don't think the dad drags him over.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
But it's very intense. It was like the dad caught them like drinking a bunch of beers in their basement and like, I have to call your parents now because I'm an adult and you're 12.
Yeah, it's and they like, but there's a couple of things about that scene. I don't think Davey protested nearly hard enough.
No, he just takes it.
If I thought a dude was a murderer and my dad is about to force me to go in and tell him and basically like draw his attention on me, I would be like, I'd be having a scream. You would have to drag me over there and I would be fighting tooth and nail.
No, Davey's
I would
like
to not. I wouldn't just be like, oh well, I guess so, and then immediately stand there and like.
It's the worst. It's one of the flaws of that, right? Like he's like, okay.
Yeah, he just does it. He doesn't put up much of a fight at all.
No, but you're right. He's a murderer, and you saw a kid, you saw an evidence, and he goes over there, and Mackie, he's like, all right, yeah, it's kids' imaginations, keeps it cool, and bullshit, and he gives him he goes, oh well, that's my nephew. I was watching him, and he caught himself. He cut himself and visiting, and Davey then goes, you told me you didn't have any family. It's like, all right, Davey, where's your line here? Are you gonna talk back to him or are you gonna take it?
I was gonna say, yeah. Like, now you've got questions? Like
but he does so. And then the other kids, most of them are like, this is too much. We're done.
Well, also Mackie does it's funny because like he does what I consider to be another super suspect behavior, which is immediately catch somebody for the murders. It's
Oh,
like the next day he's like, oh,
oh,
I found him. It's this guy.
Davy is. That's why like I do like Davy as a character a little more. He is like this. This is the most obvious thing in the world, guys.
Yeah, and that's the thing where I expected everybody, because I also thought it was so obvious. I expected everybody else, and Davey obviously does, but all his friends are like, "He got the guy. It's over. You were wrong. Admit it." And I'm like, "What the hell are you even
Well,
talking
it's like
about?"
it was like a little
But again,
later
it's
on.
that thing of we were talking about the kids from It, and like you'd be like sick of it, and also maybe you're just ready to be done with it because if it is real, it could be fucked up. Like maybe
Well,
it's
what
getting a little
happened? Like
too real. Like yeah,
this movie gets too real. This is a movie where I believe it just gets too real. And but even a little later, right? So they have that in this panorama, and this is kind of when he's able to rope in his neighbor is like, I'm in. Like I can't believe you were dumb enough to go through with this, but it's fun.
yeah,
And she
but like somehow the girl kind of respects slash feels sorry for him.
yeah, so she's like, all right, I'll hang.
Yeah. She's like, fine,
And
I'll be one. She basically goes, I'll be a goonie, you know?
yeah, and anyway, yeah, like talking about earlier, I didn't mention earlier, talking not Goonies, but Karate Kid. I mean, there's straight up there's a couple shots they clearly take from other movies. The kids riding their bikes to Cruel
Oh, yeah.
Summer.
I mean, in Goonies, they're also investigating murderers, so.
Well, Goonies, and there's a Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, I'm convinced it's a Nightmare on Elm Street shot. You know the scene where the kid, it's the only scene it's really abruptly put into the movie, I think.
Mhm.
It's the last kid that's kidnapped. He's like walking down
Oh,
an
the kid
alley.
who I wrote down looks like Paul Dano and Jeremy Allen White had a baby.
Yes, it's poorly. I think it's poorly cut into the movie because
Yeah.
because it never really happens again. But he gets kidnapped. And that scene it's one of my notes that it's like on that same like foggy street that scene with Freddy with the
Wet down
arms.
and lit with, and
It
he's walking
reminds
and looking over his
it
shoulder. I
reminds me
agree.
of
I
that.
know what you're talking
And
about
I'm
now.
like,
That does feel Nightmare, yeah.
I don't think that's unintentional just because the I mean the references are little throughout. I mean when they're in the arcade there's a polybus Brian froze, so I'm just gonna keep talking. There's a polybus arcade. Brian?
So, are we back?
Yeah, you froze.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, sorry.
we're good. So I don't know if you heard anything I was saying.
I don't know.
Anyway, I didn't say much. I'm just saying like the movie is riddled with these references, right? I think from filmmaking to 80s,
Oh, sure.
like there's a polybus, the haunted
That's
video game.
one thing I think this movie's much more subtle with than Stranger Things ever
Hmm.
was, which is like shining a light on this is the 80s. Everybody look, it's the 80s right
Yeah,
now,
I think the most egregious thing this movie has, if we're going to talk about that, and it's not even egregious, is like that MTV shirt. A kid in
Sure.
I mean, from what I understand, a kid in 1984, when MTV came in like 1982 or something, would not
Yeah, it
have
hadn't been out long enough to really have merch.
would
Yeah.
not have a graphic tee that probably I don't know, but that's a stretch. Who cares?
Yeah, that's
Um,
pretty mild. That's pretty mild. By
um,
comparison to Stranger Things, where they had posters that hadn't even been out, like for movies that had barely been out, that were like that unless you worked at at a theater that showed this midnight movie, you would
better
never have access to. Like,
cultural like footprint stamps. Like this is my personality now. And it's like
yeah,
Ghostbusters just came out.
yeah.
Anyway,
Also, like, there's no way a kid in 1980, like 4 or 5, is cool enough to be both into The Thing and Evil Dead 2. Sorry,
you know,
not happening.
uh, but anyway, sorry to get sidetracked there. But the kids, so that all happens, and there's like the little lull there, but they basically get right back on the horse. They're like,
Yeah, absolutely. Like he kind of, like you said, the other kids are. Yeah, he basically doesn't take no for an answer. He goes
and
back at it. He's like, one more time. And this was one note that I did have. At this point, I felt like let's split up into teams, and one of us watches them and one of us investigates, started to get a little stale. That's like the third time they're doing it in the movie. And it's like, I know we're actually going to get to the big climax of like they're actually going to pay it off finally.
Redundance
but like,
to it.
I was like, I feel like this just is a beat. It's all done well, and like there's really good suspense moments in all those investigation scenes and all those chase scenes. That, not to take anything away from that, but I was at this point kind of like, okay, this is the third time we're doing this kind of same beat.
Well, we're back to like, yeah, I agree. We're the same beat. We're also back to like a more ramped up, tension filled with the phone call, right? Like he comes over, and Mackie comes over, and he's just like,
that feels like we're getting back to a more like Silence of the Lambs type vibe. Yeah,
he's I think negging is the wrong word, but he's like negging him. He's like, it's fine. He's like, I get it. Like how could I fix it? It's okay.
Yeah, he's like overplaying his hand a little bit.
I don't want to
here.
But then he's like, my phone's out, so can I use your phone? You know, just to get into the house. He just wants
I did note, and it's another thing that reminded me that like tricked something in my brain about like remembering some of the plot of the movie, was that I did note his line about, I helped your dad move some stuff up to the attic when you guys first moved in here.
So
I took note of that attic line, and I was like, that comes back. That comes back into play. There's a lot of, but again, we talk about filmmaking.
I never take note of that, so that's a good call out. Because
okay.
No, I'm just maybe.
No, but I was gonna say this movie has that like plant and payoff in it. There's a couple of those. There's like you mentioned the lie earlier, that comes back, you know, like
the attic ones.
There's things like that where they'll mention something, or again, the pictures is obviously a big one. This movie does a good job.
No, it does a job setting, but he does that. The kid notices. Because Davey once again kind of pushes back, and he's like, "It's okay. I can understand you don't believe me." Well, Mackie's like, "I'll call my sister, and you could talk to her."
Yeah, he made that offer, and then like he kind of calls him. He's like, "You said you would call your nephew. Can you do that? Like, if you really want to like assuage my fears or whatever."
It's clever enough. He calls back, but like once again, I think I'm about to split hairs here. Like, how's Mackie an emergency contact if he hasn't been over the house and he's their neighbor since he was a child? No, I'm saying
the dad says they've known him since before Davey was born.
Yeah.
And he's a cop who's your neighbor. I could see having his number up.
That's true. I guess being the cop is anyway.
Yeah, that makes him like, to me, that makes it like
I'm splitting hairs.
Yeah, no, I agree that, but I did like the thing of like the cleverness of like calling back to see what number he called and stuff.
And that's when he goes to his friends, and I'm saying this escalates the last leg of the movie. He's like,
right, this is when he like takes that's the evidence he kind of uses to get his friends back into it.
He's like, he fucking called his own number. Like the guy's bad.
Yeah, he's hiding something. He's lying about something.
So they basically, I'll just fast forward. They pick a time when, great, there's a window. He's out. We could get into his basement.
Yeah. They know he's going to be at this big festival. They have one kid who's going to be there who can keep an eye on him. And they're going to look for, they're going to go into his house again and get into his basement.
And they do. There was a pad. The one thing we haven't mentioned, there's this pad. There's a door in the basement that's padlocked. It starts from the beginning of the movie, and Davey, being as observant as he's like, it's weird. Why is a padlocked door in a single man's house?
Right. Who's he trying to keep out of there? He lives alone.
And so Davey, like, movie magic, picks the lock pretty quickly and convincingly.
Well, again, a plant and payoff. He learns from the delinquent kid earlier. Although learns is a strong word, because the kid's just jam it in there and jiggle it around, and eventually it unlocks. Like, I don't think that's how it works.
Exactly. It wasn't like Davey was reading a book. It's not like it's not like in Zodiac. He wasn't
trained by Houdini with like the two little sticks.
It's not. It's a Robert Graysmith in Zodiac reading fucking books about serial killers and code cracking.
No.
But talk about Great serial killer movie. Probably the best. Probably the best.
The best.
This is different. Speaking of things I've been doing, I've been listening to the Blank Check podcast series on David Fincher.
Okay.
Just going through his filmography. So anyway, that's a whole different thing. Should have been brought up in the beginning episode. Good podcast.
Strong. We're good at this.
But anyway, he gets through it. They get into this room, and it's dimly lit, but they have this really nice rig of this video camera. I mean, like, that thing is
the big VHS camera with the light, and again, 1984. I don't know,
but we'll take it.
Let it ride. We let it ride.
And they notice, and it is very creepy. It reminded me of it is set up essentially as like, is this
like a recreation of his childhood bedroom,
which reminded me a lot of season 4 of Dexter with John Lithgow, the Trinity Killer. It's one of the best seasons of a show.
I've heard that before. I've heard that's like the peak of that particular
It's the peak of that show. The serial killer, he's so good in it. And one of his things is like, he recreates one of the kills comes, he recreates a bedroom in like clearly his childhood bedroom in like fallout shelters, in basements, and kidnaps a kid, and it's very similar as a like 50s look. And anyway, but they're going around and they're like, oh fuck, there's photos of all these children.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a rotted out corpse in the tub. I don't know how
that's when that's like they're kind of like, this is creepy, but it's not really evidence. And then they find a bathtub, and you know what's going to be in the bathtub the minute.
And they find the kid that got kidnapped.
Right. Paul Dano, Jeremy Allen White's son, is alive. They save him.
I feel like there had to be. I think the movie's tight, right? We said it gets a little redundant, but it's a tight.
Yeah, it's barely 90 minutes. It's a very.
I would say remove one investigation scene and like put one more scene back in with something more with this kid that they save, because he just.
Yeah, something where you don't see the killer's face, but you see him being tortured or being like trapped in that room or something to remind you that he's there.
They rescue him, and I did note, like, what is he okay? I guess he's okay, because the cops go, they bring him to the cops, and like everyone's there. I mean, they really were able to assemble.
It seems like something about. I mean, again, I'm speculating because he doesn't go out of its way to tell you, but the impression that it gives you is that he obviously had a fucked up childhood, and he kidnaps kids and he brings them to the recreation of his childhood home and probably like kind of recreates what happened to him in some way, and then eventually he kills them.
Yes,
a little bit of maybe a little bit of Black Phone getting in here. A little bit, yeah. Feels a little Black Phone.
But yeah, that's another good movie that probably could have used an influence of this. This is not a unique idea. But anyway, in the cops thing, and the cops are like, holy fucking shit. Okay, well, you saved this kid.
At least they believe him now that he has like full on video evidence, like.
And they go,
boom, and a live child that they just saved.
Yeah, so that was the point. You saved this kid's life. Your kid's a hero. Dad, you're a dumbass.
Oh, I'm like, my parents would never be able to tell me a fucking thing ever again. Never. I'd be like, wait, who is the one who knew there was a serial killer? And even after you fucked up my investigation, I still managed to catch him and save the kid. Okay, but also never make it up to me. I would know you cannot be. You almost got me killed, and eventually my friend gets killed, and it's basically your fault.
Yeah, and
I'd say it's 30% your fault and 70% the guy who actually does the killing.
Yeah, it's a bit of Davy's fault too. He could have just.
Which I think is portrayed in his the way his other two friends look at him at the end of the movie. I think.
Oh, that's why this movie is so fucking bleak. Like, this is a trick. This movie is a trick.
I would say that if this movie had the original, obviously this is our happy ending moment. They didn't catch him, but they know he's the killer. Everybody believes them. There's evidence.
I have a question.
He stays over because his home life's bad, but essentially you feel like it's over. And the movie is giving all those it's like the Scooby-Doo ending vibes. We got him, guys. Mission accomplished.
And to me, that's how the movie starts.
Yeah.
The movie that's with the bikes and the synth score and the adventure and the Goonies-ness of it and this.
Sure.
Even a little Poltergeist, you're expecting this happy ending.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing all the Spielbergs out there.
Yeah, get them all
Gambit.
out.
But surprise.
Seen movies. Whew, geez.
Oh, gee, oh, surprise. It's not a happy ending. It's some bad things are about to happen. But my one question for you is, and this is my thought, yeah, if this is going on, I know it's the 80s. Guess what we're doing? The killer's out there. My son's a target. His friend's a target. The photographs on his wall. So they notice, the big wall.
Our family's already hung up, like, in anticipation of our murder.
And you know what we're doing? We're taking a trip to a different state and staying at a hotel for a couple days.
Bare minimum, we are checking the whole. We're having the cops check the whole house, including the attic.
Check the attic. Like,
you got one of those movie attics where the thing pulls down and the ladder. Then you check it. You got a ladder to your attic. You check your attic.
I've been checking a lot of. We've been house hunting. And if I can pull the ladder down, I do to check the attic.
Yeah.
Just to be like, what's, is it good shape up there?
Yeah, what's it look like up there?
It's a cape. A lot of capes have those. Anyway, but kids are sleeping, and I love that scene though, because I did not clock like the attic. He says
the attic line earlier. Like I said, just a very subtle but a little plant and payoff. Everything, you know what I mean? It's good.
And I think it comes down creepy. The kids wake up and they're like,
we're really into the synth score here. They're really getting it. They're really vibing with this one.
But they're like, I love the wake up though. And he's like, the sirens are going. They're clearly in some forest somewhere. He's like, you like games, don't you? I
love this thing of like, they wake up in the car and then he like scares them out of the car and they go running. It's like, I was instantly like, he obviously wants you to go into the woods. Just stay right there. Don't play his game.
They run. Like, they do this.
Like games. Yeah.
And this is the horror movie. I mean, this is the ramped up.
Well, when the guy reveals that, like, when the kids realize they're on basically a murder island, like an inescapable murder island.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's fucked up. I mean,
the reveal of the lie pit with all the like bones was really cool and gross and creepy. I like that a lot.
Disgusting. And I mean, it is so upsetting. I think it's one of the more upsetting deaths on screen when Woody gets his throat slashed.
Yeah.
It's not.
And it's the thing that you've been conditioned to think this movie was never going to do, which is let one of the kids actually die.
Never going to do it. Because another movie would have had one of those kids go missing. We all knew
that if one of the kids was going to die, it was going to be the fat kid.
But it was also one of the ones where, like, in another movie, one of these kids would have went missing, like, halfway through and been like, yo, that's weird. Jimmy hasn't been, like, answering the phone.
Yeah.
But no, it is such an upsetting death. And, like, Davey is just crying.
Yeah.
And looking upon, and, really, in pure evil, Mackie just goes, no, I'm not going to fucking kill you. I'm going to wait basically till you're married and have children or whenever. And then I'm going to
just let you spend your life looking over your shoulder.
And
paranoid.
And, he's beat up there. And then they cuts and a guy finds him and they rescue and they survey the land and so forth. And then we
find the bodies, etc.
Find the bodies. And we hit back to the same VO, but much sadder from the beginning.
But also kind of a lot of the same shots of him riding through the neighborhood. You're getting kind of like a basically, new end of the movie version of the shot from the beginning of the movie. You're seeing the time that's passed, but he's in the same area, but everything has changed.
Yeah, and he's a paper boy. So that's some sort of like thing, and everything's changed, and they all live in this cul-de-sac. One house is foreclosed. His two friends fucking hate him because clearly their friends murdered.
Yeah, clearly he got Woody killed with his bullshit, kind of. Yeah.
The girl's moving away. The girl is moving away.
Yeah, it's like there was that flash of hope, which was a little unrealistic, where she's like, "Oh, my parents hugged when they found out, when they came to the station to get me," and she had that little flash of hope, but like come on, we all knew what was gonna
Your
happen. Like
parents
reality
hugged.
set in, you know.
Yeah, your parents hugged because you were in the
Alive.
basement of a serial killer's house. Um, but yeah. So anyway, so that all and it is such. It's why I wanted to talk about this movie. This ending is why I always want to talk about this movie.
Sure.
It's so fucking bleak.
Yeah.
Like compared, like there's bleaker endings. Like I said, I was watching
sure.
Eden Lake, and it's so bleak compared to the movie that it makes you spend an hour and a half with.
Yeah.
And then the last 10, 15
It really
minutes are
is like if a Goonies then like ended with Chunk getting his throat slit by Mama Fratelli.
Yeah, and Mom Fernelli's like, no, I'm a cruel villain who wants money, and I don't care about you children.
Yeah.
Like, and the silly part is like, I get kids were missing and there was a serial killer around. Those 4 kids would have been completely safe because they live on the same block of them. And that guy was like, Mackie was like, I'm not shitting where I'm eating.
Yeah, he was smart enough. He was smart enough not to do that. But Davey kind of couldn't leave it alone, and
it's the
and like
birds.
obviously his heart's in the right place, and you don't want to be like, oh, you should have ignored the murderer, but at the same time, you can understand why his friends are probably pretty mad.
Yeah, I don't think he's.
Woody's mom definitely killed herself, right? Like she was already on the verge anyway. Like
I think that was the house that said foreclosed.
Oh, I thought the foreclosed house would have been Mackie's house.
I'm sorry, that Mackie's house. No, but there's the one with the caution tape all over it. That was Mackie's house.
Oh,
there's 2 houses. One that's foreclosed.
Foreclosed one would be his neighbor, the girl's house.
But she was driving away from They sold that. Your house doesn't get foreclosed when you sell it.
Maybe you're right. I didn't think there was any evidence as clear as that, but I just thought in my mind, I was like, oh yeah, she definitely come on, she was on the edge already. Like
that block is decimated. Put it that
right?
way.
Yeah, exactly. These events have ruined everybody's lives.
And so she, yeah, but yeah, it ends as a bummer. Yes, of course, it's just cinematic. He's riding around in the reality, yeah, that kid's not having his paper route again. Those parents are probably also looking to move to be like,
we gotta get out of it. We gotta hey, are we gonna get some Can we get witness protection here?
There's a murderer loose, and you have to imagine Davey said, "Mom, Dad, he said he will be back to finish the job. It might be on my wedding day. Guess we'll be an old man by then, sure." But yeah, so that's really Summer '84. I did have a question for you that I did forget to ask here. What did you in Ohio, did you call it Manhunt? They were playing Manhunt, like the night hide and seek.
Yeah, it looked more like just like flashlight tag to me.
So I was wondering if that's you know how those things have like Mischief Nights, Devil's Night.
Names.
Like we called it Manhunt.
Okay, yeah.
But
I don't ever remember playing anything called Manhunt.
Yeah, okay, that was just regional, yeah. But it's also very it sounds cooler and more sinister in the movie, like Manhunt.
Yeah, we're playing Manhunt.
Well, I remember,
but it's basically flashlight tag,
when we played Manhunt when we got about the age of these kids. That was when we were and we were playing with all boys essentially. Oh, we could throw each other to the
full
ground.
Full contact, basically full contact Manhunt, yeah.
But no, that's summer of '84. And I think it's hard to get a good summer horror movie that has that punch, that is palatable. Meaning it has this. There's a lot of summer horror movies. I mentioned Poltergeist earlier. That's a summer horror movie. I mean, Midsummer, obviously. Sleepaway Camp's, I think, the most palatable. That's a drive-in. That's put it on the big screen, hang out, friends. No, this bums me out. This movie truly bums me out.
It leaves you with a real horror movie ending, which movies like this kind of don't like to do sometimes.
No,
I did want to ask you, what do you think? how do you think Davey lived? I like to think he basically became John Connor from Terminator 3, where he's just like off the grid and like staying, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, probably, right? Like Davey, I think probably grows up, just push-ups in his room,
right? Just
like
hardening his mind and body in preparation for
always
war.
a knife in his hand, doesn't have like truly no friends, doesn't want to bother with that. I mean, he saw his best
Yeah.
friend get his throat slit in front of him. Um, yeah, I am in agree with you there. I didn't think too much of who did Davey become, but he probably became John Connor in Terminator
Yeah.
3.
Yeah, he's probably pretty fucked up. Like this, like he's like what Mackie says is true. It would ruin your life. Like you
Oh,
just all this happening and them catching the guy would might ruin your life. Let
hmm
alone him
you
being
saw a
out.
dead body and rescued
Yeah,
a malnourished human in
yeah.
your neighbor's basement.
Also, like you had to deal with the trauma of like no one believing you and being right but not being able to prove it, and all that is like very traumatic. You know?
And there's no world where his parents go, yeah, in a month we're out of here.
Yeah.
We're not living in this town
Yeah.
anymore. Father from Monk. I'm sorry, the guy from Monk. You're getting a new job. I'm getting a new job. Our
Yeah.
kid will be murdered. We might have to change our names.
Yeah. So I was gonna say I'm looking for witness protection. Like you
Like,
better get some. You better help me out. You better
like
put
this
me. You
isn't
better move me and put me somewhere. And
the guy. Let's say Mackie probably. There's 13 known missing boys. He probably murdered like 30.
right,
Um,
because there's gonna be some runaways that are unaccounted for that don't have anybody looking for them and
that's
stuff
not
like
some
that.
that's not some small town sheriff being like, well, we did all we can do. That's the FBI.
Yeah, that's true. This would be FBI stuff. So they
Um,
can definitely do witness protection. Is what I'm saying.
yes. So, but yeah, that I just come back to like this is a movie that I recommend when people are like,
Yeah.
give me a horror.
It's a nice,
Um,
tight, like I said,
it's
little
tight.
90-minute banger.
It's not perfect for sure,
No, like I said, not even. I wouldn't want it to be a shorter movie or anything like, but like I would say maybe not even cut those chase scenes, but maybe like take some of the pieces and like redistribute them so there's two, and then find a different beat to have in the middle. You know what I
It
mean?
needs
Like I said, like we
yeah,
talked about, take those stuff from those other chases, pick and choose the one you like, do the two best.
it
Obviously,
need
you need the final one needs to happen. So take all the best stuff and put the rest of it and put it in the first one, and then in the middle, give us a little bit more of seeing his victims and like
yeah, we
seeing the
need a little
killer and what he's up to.
yeah, I think it needs not like a shock horror or like
No,
gross
but show me the
testing.
kid down in that room and like be
It
seeing weird old timey shit or whatever.
it
Like,
needs something like that.
yeah,
Um, because once again, this movie, and we'll wrap up since I'm kind of just talking in a circle now.
that's okay.
This movie is never trying to make you as the audience think that it's not Mackie.
Right, right, and that's another thing that like maybe if you felt like doing something else instead of like repeating those beats we were talking about, you could bulk up a little bit of that. You could have a little bit of a red herring or
It's like
somebody else they think it is, or even like something the guy that Mackie ends up pinning it on.
we
Show us
should
something with that guy where it even makes him seem like maybe a viable suspect.
even through the news, you could do that with
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
Like because it's like it's the biggest comparable. It's like in Disturbia, right? Like what's his name? God, who's the fucking villain in Disturbia?
David
That act,
Morse.
David Morse. They threw a little doubt in there for you. It's not, but like it's the Fright Night shit. It's
Yeah.
like
Well, it's
anyway.
fine for us, the audience, to always know that it's Mackie and never, but like the movie still could do a little bit to try to throw us off, even if it doesn't work. You know
Well,
what I
my
mean?
least favorite when it doesn't work for me because we do know as the audience and we know it's coming and let's do this
Yeah,
is when the nerdy kid goes to the cool kid and he's like, "Nah, turn the walkies off. We're going home. I'll explain why later." Like it's not
yeah.
Mackie 100%, and like the scene doesn't isn't neat. It's built tension so the kids don't have a lookout.
Yeah.
but it doesn't really ever get to anything. It just just tells us those two kids
Yeah,
bailed.
there's never a moment where like they make you feel like Mackie's closing in on them or coming back to the
No.
house while they're there or anything. That never
It's
really,
more to
you're right,
show-
that never really plays out into anything.
It's more at the end of the movie, like, I think that's more than the end of the movie to set up, like, those two kids aren't there. They're not part of the Mackie's
Yeah.
radar. It's Davy and Woody. Let's be real. Woody dies because he sleeps over at Davy's house. Woody doesn't get
Yeah.
kidnapped.
Woody probably didn't get kidnapped or killed if he's not at Davy's house that night.
Yeah, but as always, and I'll end it here, I blame those parents for not just fucking taking a trip after that.
Yeah, they should have left town or bare minimum had some kind of, like, the fact that they didn't sweep the house is bananas.
I would like, I don't know. I would be like, hey, I know you guys are sitting out the front door of cops, I'd imagine. Can you like just like sit like hang in the hallway? I'll pay you guys
Right. I've got money.
like I will pay like I'm sorry, Davey. Officer Chet is gonna sleep in your room is gonna be in your room tonight.
Yeah. So you and Woody can't jerk each other off.
I was just gonna say
you're
you can't
planning
jerk
on.
off tonight. Looking at those old pornos.
Old 80s porn mags.
But anyway, any other closing thoughts?
No. Like I said, this was a revisit for me in a movie that I didn't really feel like I remembered very well, but that I remembered liking, and I think it still feels that way. I'll remember it better now, but I still feel like it was a pretty solid movie.
Yeah, it's a 3. Like I gave it.
If
like
I was
3.
doing a summer horror list, this could easily make it. I think for sure.
Yeah, it's hit my rotation of a summer horror. I've done about once a summer since. On Letterboxd, I think I gave like a 3.5 out of 5, which like I found
That's nice.
appropriate.
That's fun.
Like
By the time this is airing, we'll be gearing up. It'll be 4th of July. That's Jaws season, baby. I can't wait. Oh,
can't
I
wait
love
for
it.
Jaws
I actually
season.
usually have to like actively talk myself out of watching Jaws like in March. I'm like, it's only a little while longer. You're gonna watch it soon. Yeah, it's so good. I was like, you're gonna do it. And sometimes it works, and sometimes I just find myself watching Jaws several times a year.
Yeah, you definitely have it more in rotation than I do because it's a rare perfect movie.
It's true. I always at least watch it on 4th of July. It's like a tradition. But sometimes I just like get the itch, you know? It's like so good.
It's the
Plus Sarah really likes it too.
It's the Halloween of animal attack movies. You know, it's you watch it any time of year. It doesn't matter if the holidays there. Yeah, no, we'll gear up. We'll do something fun for 4th of July. Maybe we will. I mean, maybe we'll do Jaws 2 or 3.
I think Jaws 2 is brutally underrated in my opinion.
So I'm a once only ever seen. So we'll talk off air about that. But Jaws 2.
Maybe we can bring that into rotation. I'm on the record as I don't really think of Jaws as horror. It's more like adventure thriller to me. But that doesn't mean I wouldn't want to cover Jaws 2.
We could talk about it. I think we've played loose and fast on this show before with what's horror.
Right,
so,
damn right.
All right.
Also, we make the rules, baby. Nobody can't tell us shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like the kid who solved the serial killer. You can't tell me shit.
Yeah, but if you make me go to the guy's house, I'm not going to put up a fight at all. I'm actually going to go, yeah, no, man.
I'm just going to be a big old doormat about it.
You are my dad. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What we didn't see off screen is that guy beat the shit out of Davey regularly, so he didn't mouth off. He didn't backtalk.
All right. So, having said that, watch Summer 84. We'll see you in July, or it's probably July when this is airing. But anyway, stay frightful, everyone.
Stay
Brian,
frightful.
It's a pleasure. Welcome to Flyover State of Fear.